Good morning. It's Tuesday, April 29th. Here's what we're working on this morning. It may be a few hours before we know if the Liberals have won a minority or majority government.
Two of the main party leaders have lost in their own ridings.
And the Leafs move on to the next playoff round tonight. Good morning. It's Tuesday. We made it.
We made it, yes.
What a day yesterday. Never mind what the weather was like yesterday, but a very interesting day yesterday.
Yes. Different political climate this morning. And it's interesting because, good morning, Shelley. Good morning, Brian.
Good morning over there.
We had coworkers that left as we were coming in this morning.
What a busy place this was last night.
Yes.
And you know, there are still leftover jelly beans in the canteen, just in case.
And leftover slices of pizza. Election pizza, the very best part.
And it's not too early for you guys for jelly beans and pizza?
No.
You're used to it, right?
No, not at all. No.
Okay.
Coming up on to lunchtime soon.
I'll be in there momentarily.
So you take it away, Shelley.
Yeah, Shelley, go ahead. What's the day going to be like?
Go get your jelly beans. Let's have a look at our cameras right now. We're off to a pretty good start out there. Weather-wise, not an issue as well. 403 at the junction, lightly traveled. Looking at the Burlington Skyway Bridge, we are seeing a little bit of volume heading Toronto bound over the top side. And here's a look at the Hamilton side of the QEW over the Skyway. Yeah, just a little bit of volume. Through Stony Creek, doing okay. Not seeing any heavy delays through the Burlington area. QEW around the Ford plant, both directions through Oakville. That is doing okay as well. QEW at Niagara Street, so we're heading out towards the St. Catherine region, looking to be quite well. That's the Garden City Skyway, the east side. So yeah, not too bad. Not a whole lot going on in traffic, but that's always a good thing. Hopefully it stays that way. Back to news.
All right, thank you, Shelley. Well, the federal Liberals have won the 45th general election, but Elections Canada says it has decided to pause counting of special ballots until later this morning.
A handful of ridings are still too close to call, and that means that we won't know until later this morning whether Mark Carney's Liberals have won a minority or a majority mandate. Here is Carney's victory speech.
I began with humility, but Canadians are ambitious. And now, more than ever, it is a time for ambition. It is a time to be bold, to meet this crisis with overwhelming positive force of a united Canada. Because we are going to build, baby, build. The system of open global trade anchored by the United States, a system that Canada has relied on since the Second World War, a system that, while not perfect, has helped deliver prosperity for a country for decades, is over. These are tragedies, but it's also our new reality. We are over the shock of the American betrayal, but we should never forget the lessons.
But you're going to take it forward.
We have to look out for ourselves, and above all, we have to take care of each other.
Now, Mark Carney is expected to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump to talk about the future of economic and security relationship between our two countries.
And Mark Carney will continue to serve as Canada's 24th Prime Minister, leading the Liberal Party to a fourth mandate in a position of a minority government. And Simone Gavros joins us live in studio with a breakdown of all the results. Simone?
Well, Brian and Annette, this was something that we were watching very closely. This win was a huge rebound compared to what we saw earlier this year. Now, this is going to be a breakdown of some of the leaders' ridings first. So we're going to head to Nepean, where this is where Mark Carney's polling area was, and you can see that he was elected here. This is pretty significant because this is his first time winning a seat as an elected official. So we're going to head over now to Carleton, which is one of the areas. This is Pierre Poilievre's riding. And we all heard that Pierre Poilievre has lost in his seat here. This was actually won by the Liberal candidate in this area. Pierre Poilievre only got 46% of the votes here in this area. Another one of the Liberal, or rather the candidates here that lost in the riding as well was NDP leader Jagmeet Singh in Burnaby Central. This also went to the Liberal candidate here in this area. So Wade Chang won and Jagmeet Singh came in third. He only got 18% of the votes here in this riding. So far, the NDP have only won 7 seats. Now, we're going to be seeing this trend continuing over into Hamilton. We're going to head to Hamilton Center. This is a long-standing NDP stronghold. It's been this area for almost 20 years, and we saw it flip last night to Liberal. Here's a listen to Matthew Green on his reaction to this loss.
We just couldn't break through the noise. Like, people honestly thought when they were going to the polls today, they were voting for Mark Carney. They honestly thought that having a majority or a supermajority would somehow be different in Parliament. That's not the way Parliament works. And so now our democracy does have a threat of being diminished to a two-party system that doesn't actually reflect working class voices, labor, doesn't actually reflect the everyday Hamiltonians that I grew up with and my friends and neighbors here.
So now here in this riding, Aslam Rana, the Liberal candidate, has won. Heading over to Hamilton East as well. This candidate here, this is Chad Collins' riding. He lost as well. He was the incumbent here. And the Conservative candidate here, Ned Curick, he won with 48% of the votes. Heading up to Hamilton Mountain. Now, this area, Lisa Hefner secured her win here in this riding with 45% of the votes. But this was a notable area as well because Monique Taylor, she lost and only got 11% of the votes in this riding. And of course, Monique Taylor with the NDP, she switched from provincial to federal last year for this election. Also in Flamborough as well, Dan Muse was able to secure his seat with the Conservatives. He got 52% of the vote, almost 53%. But Hamilton West, Ancaster, Dundas, this was one of the areas that we were watching because there was no incumbent in this area. MP Philomena Tassi was here before. And then John Paul Danko, who is the Ward 8 councillor here in Hamilton, he took over this riding as a Liberal candidate, and he won with almost 56% of the votes. Here's a listen to his reaction last night.
It was just an amazing campaign. The response that we got at the doors has just been so positive. Seeing all the houses with Canadian flags in the window, on the flagpole, on the tree, it's been just so exciting to see Canadians unite together around our common values and rise to the challenges that we have right now.
Now let's look at the Hamilton ridings. Throughout the morning, we're going to be breaking down what happened in Niagara, Halton, as well as Haldimand, and we'll have that for you throughout the day. For now, things back over to you, Annette and Brian.
Okay, thanks very much. Let's get now to more reaction from the leaders of the Conservative and NDP party. So Jagmeet Singh lost his Vancouver area seat, as Simone had mentioned, and has announced that he will resign as party leader. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre quieted a bit of booing from the crowd during his concession speech.
I want to take a moment to congratulate Prime Minister Carney on his victory. He has an important job to do to represent all Canadians and to protect our country. Tonight, I've been informed our party leader that I'll be stepping down as party leader as soon as an interim leader can be appointed.
To my fellow Conservatives, we have much to celebrate tonight. We've gained well over 20 seats. We got the highest share of vote our party has received since 1988. We denied the NDP and Liberals enough seats to form a coalition government. Canadians have opted for a razor-thin minority government, a virtual tie in the vote count. So I would like to congratulate Prime Minister Carney on leading this minority government. We'll have plenty of opportunity to debate and disagree. But tonight we come together as Canadians. We will do our job. Yes, we will do our job to hold the government to account.
Now, Poilievre has signaled he intends to stay on as Conservative Party leader despite losing his own riding of Carleton in Ottawa.
All right, let's turn to sports. The defending Stanley Cup champions are one step closer to moving to round 2 of the NHL playoffs.
This place is alive. He has 118 career regular season goals. That's the franchise record. They score again. Oh,
Aaron Ekblad and Seth Jones scored 11 seconds apart late in the third period as the Florida Panthers came from behind to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning 4-2 to take a 3-1 lead in their first-round playoff series. Waterdown's Carter Verhaeghe added an empty netter, and Sergei Bobrovsky stopped 18 shots. Tampa Bay's Brendan Hagel left the game in the second period after taking a hit from Ekblad and did not return. The Panthers will have a chance to clinch the best-of-7 Battle of Florida tomorrow night in Tampa.
We've already seen another example of it tonight between the Panthers and the Lightning. There is nothing better than playoff hockey. And we are underway again. Score! Just to begin 9 seconds in.
Wyatt Johnston set the tone for the Dallas Stars in Game 5 of their series against the Colorado Avalanche. He scored 9 seconds after the opening faceoff. That's the fastest goal ever to start a playoff game for Dallas. They won 6-2. Johnston added another goal and an assist to give Dallas a 3-2 lead in their first-round series. Former Colorado star Mikko Rantanen scored his first postseason goal for Dallas and added a couple of assists. Game 6 in this series is coming up Thursday night in Colorado.
Played to the line, but not out. Sanderson helps. Score! Jake Sanderson through! And the Senators still have life. Still alive and headed to Game 5.
The Toronto Maple Leafs have another chance to advance to the second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight when they host Ottawa in Game 5 of their series at Scotiabank Arena. The Sens avoided a series sweep with an overtime win on Saturday night, the third straight game that has needed extra time. A victory by the Senators would force the best-of-7 series back to Ottawa for game number 6.
Winnipeg Jets goalie Connor Hellebuyck is one of 3 finalists for this year's Vezina Trophy. Hellebuyck won the award for the NHL's top goalie twice, including last year. This season, he led the league in wins and goals against average and had the second-best save percentage. LA goalie Darcy Kemper and Tampa Bay's Andrei Vasilevsky are the other 2 finalists.
And let's have a look at traffic now. Pretty quiet out there on the 403 QEW. Looking at our MTO cameras now to see how we're doing, well, volume-wise. QEW east of Bronte Road, seeing a little bit of volume filling in on that Toronto-bound side. 403 at the QEW, that's the junction, pretty good. Quite slow, though, Toronto-bound over the top side of the Burlington Skyway Bridge. Not seeing any flashing lights, not aware of any problems, but it is quite early to see it so busy, but looks to be just volume. Heading a little bit further backwards towards the Skyway to see if there is a problem there. No, nothing. QEW at Woodward Avenue, just some volume at the Red Hill Valley Parkway as well along the QEW. A little bit of volume. That was on the Niagara-bound side. And out in St. Catharines, the Garden City Skyway, the west side. This is a shot of the west side, but you can see both directions traffic is flowing quite well, and that camera not working, or that one. Okay, right now our temperatures ranging from 15s to 8 across the region. We're looking at winds right now out of the south, a little bit gusty, up to about 33 kilometers an hour, but later on today we will have gusts up to about 80 kilometers an hour. We do have a chance of some active weather. So ongoing right now, that heavy rain for far northern Ontario, a freezing rain warning for parts of northeastern Ontario. For the lower Great Lakes, should be a quiet morning, then midday. That's when we do have a risk of some thunderstorms. And as I said, it's going to get quite windy later this afternoon. So be very mindful. Keep an eye on any alerts that might become in effect because we do have that active weather coming our way. Could continue on and off for a big part of the afternoon. It's going to be very warm as well. And with that humidity, feeling like 29, even 30, we have that recipe. It's all brewing for some active weather and thunderstorms. Your morning commute, partly cloudy skies, mild 14 to 15 in the Golden Horseshoe. Quick look at our almanac. Our first light happened for us at 5:40 to. It will, okay, it's already set. I was just checking the time there. 6:11. We don't have any windows in here. And we're looking at our sunset at 8:21. Last light of the day will be 8:51. And as I said, it's going to be quite warm today. A high of 25, feeling like 29. And now the record is about 25.5 back in 1990. So not quite breaking a record, but I'm sure a lot of people will be feeling that. Wow, this is a little bit out of the ordinary. Okay, that's it for traffic and weather. Back to news, back to the desk.
Thank you, Shelley.
Thanks, Shelley. All right. Coming up after the break, we'll say good morning to Emily Vukovic with a preview on what's coming up in Chit Chat for today.
And in business news, the duty-free shop at Canada's second busiest border crossing, Niagara, has been ordered into receivership. The details in 2 minutes.
6:17 already. Time to say good morning to Emily, who still thinks it's too cold outside,
Yes.
even though it's 14 degrees.
Discuss.
In my defense, in my defense, Brian, when I left my house, it was way colder than that 14 degrees that we're sitting at right now. So it's warming up fast.
It is warming up, yes.
Shelley will
It'll be a
tell
lovely
us,
day.
you know, all good things must come to an end. But I'll leave that all up to her.
Okay, all right. So what have you got for us this morning?
Okay, we'll tell you how Tom Cruise's running style, you know how he runs like this?
Yes. Yeah, I've noticed that.
It's become as iconic as his movies, and there's a story behind it. There is a new Miami Vice movie in the works, and later this morning, the Golden Girls are coming to Hamilton.
This is also very retro. I know.
Is it ever?
Yes.
I love it.
Wow.
It's all good.
Okay, sounds like fun. All right, the Canadian, or let's check some business news, shall we?
Let's do that, Brian.
Let's do that. We jolly well will. The Canadian dollar is up 11 basis points to 72.31 cents U.S. Gold is down $23 an ounce, and crude is $1 lower, trading at just $61 a barrel. In midday European trading, markets are up in London, Frankfurt, and Paris.
In Asia, markets were up today in Tokyo and Hong Kong, down just a little bit in Shanghai. On North American markets, Bay Street was up 88 points yesterday ahead of the federal election, while U.S. markets were mixed ahead of earning reports from some of the U.S. tech giants. So the Dow added 114, the NASDAQ was down by 16. U.S. stock futures are trading about the same this morning.
The Peace Bridge duty-free shop is going into receivership amid plummeting traveler volumes. An Ontario judge made the order to the duty-free shop at Canada's second busiest border crossing into receivership as it struggles to pay off millions of dollars in debt and overdue rent. The Buffalo and Fort Erie Public Bridge Authority claims the retail owes up to $17 million in unpaid rent dating back several years, while the Royal Bank of Canada says $3.3 million in debt remains outstanding. The Niagara Region store will continue operating for now.
U.S. President Donald Trump's administration is going to move to reduce the impact of his auto tariffs today. The White House says relief is coming for foreign parts used in U.S.-built vehicles and that overlapping duties on imported vehicles will be avoided. U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick says Trump is, quote, building an important partnership with domestic automakers and workers, calling the move a win for companies who are committed to expanding manufacturing in the United States. The Wall Street Journal was the first to report this shift, which comes ahead of Trump's visit to Michigan, home, of course, to the big three U.S. automakers and also home to more than 1,000 auto suppliers.
Archivists in Manitoba are fighting to keep a piece of Canadian history in public hands. Hudson's Bay Company plans to auction off a massive collection, including its 1670 charter. The move is facing pushback from museum staff, historians, and Indigenous leaders who fear the artifacts could disappear into private collections. The Manitoba Museum and Archives already house hundreds of thousands of HBC items and say they're ready to care for the 355-year-old company's most prized piece.
Okay, we're taking a quick break right now. Shelley is going to be back with your traffic and your 7-day forecast.
Good morning. Checking traffic, and then we'll get to weather. Here's a look at the QEW through the Oakville area, and not aware of any problems. Traffic pretty good. I mean, volume-wise, I should say. At the junction, no issues. A little bit slow, though, already. Toronto bound over the Burlington Skyway Bridge. We'll keep a close eye on that. Let you know, of course, if there is a problem, but it appears just to be some volume heading back towards the Red Hill Valley Parkway. No heavy slowdowns there. Niagara bound, we are seeing a little bit of volume and looking good out on the Garden City Skyway in St. Catharines. Looking at our surface analysis, so we have some active weather happening right now. Meaning, well, we do have some rain, a rainfall warning for parts of northern Ontario and a freezing rain warning for northeastern Ontario. Now, for the rest of southern Ontario, this low will affect us with thunderstorms. We do have some mild air. We're talking 25 degrees, feeling like 29. So with that humidity, again, all of that does play into that risk of some severe weather. We're looking at strong gusty winds. So with the thunderstorms, we could have some hail as well. The potential for this could be midday, early afternoon. You could see here, especially in the Niagara region, parts of southwestern Ontario, then another round late afternoon as well. So don't write it off. Very good thing to do today is keep a very close eye on weather alerts. So we could have wind warnings, we could have thunderstorm watches and warnings as well. So be very mindful of that. Pay close attention. And we'll have your 7-day forecast coming up a little later on. We need news. Back to the desk.
All right, thank you very much, Shelley. A letter written by a Titanic survivor has sold for nearly $400,000 US.
First-class passenger Archibald Gracie was one of the most well-known survivors on board the ship. On April 10th of 1912, he wrote of the Titanic, quote, "It is a fine ship, but I shall await my journey's end before I pass judgment on her." The letter sold for $399,000 at auction to a private collector from the United States. As the Titanic sank, Gracie jumped from the ship and he managed to cling onto an overturned boat. So he was a survivor. A short time later, he wrote a book about his experience. However, he did not fully recover from hypothermia and he died later that year. What a piece of history that is.
Yeah, even on the Titanic letterhead there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, 6:26. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We've got lots more to come after the break. Stay with us.